Hello everyone, welcome to the daily news analysis of nextias. This is Varun. Today we will discuss 6 important articles from two newspapers, The Hindu and Indian Express. The first article is regarding our daily current affairs section, that is regarding prelims. First article is on farm lending. Then second article is about tools and humans, which have come into the Indian Express explained section. Then after that we will discuss about Chandrayaan 3 mission, which again has come into the Indian Express newspaper. After that we will discuss about agricultural production estimate, which has come into Indian Express as well as on PIB. Then we will discuss about short selling, which has come into the Hindu newspaper. After that we will also discuss our main section, that is regarding editorial analysis. Today's topic is women, digital tech and farm work. So let us discuss our first article. So the first article is regarding farm lending. The article has come into the backdrop of Kisan credit card bad loans rise by 42% in 4 years. So the headline of the article is farm lending Kisan credit cards bad loans rise by 42% in 4 years. This article has come into Indian Express newspaper. Relevance of this article is in our prelims examination in Indian economy section. So what is the let us discuss about what news is about. Scheduled commercial banks excluding regional banks. So you have to hear careful about that. All scheduled commercial banks, not RRBs, have seen a sharp increase of 42% in bad loans, showing stress in the agriculture. So this bad loan shows that agriculture is going through a stress. NPA amount has shown a rise of from 68,000 crore to 97,000 crore. So the article has given some data regarding how NPA is rising, and this trend itself can be asked in the prelims examination. So you have to understand, exact data cannot be asked. In UPSC mostly trend is being asked. So whether it is increasing, decreasing, percentage is being asked. NPA amounts in the KCC segment stood at rupees 84,637 crore in FY 2022, which has increased in FY 2024 to 93,370 crore. So that is a huge increase. Also, there is a difference between NPA classification in regard to KCC rather other sectors. So in KCC what happens, NPA classification differs. Normally it is only if the loan amount is due over 90 days, it becomes NPA the moment it crosses 90 days. Whereas in case of our KCC, it is regarding crop season. One crop season is there. So and KCC loan repayments mostly align with the crop season and marketing period as determined by, and this is determined by state level bankers committee. So this itself can be asked as a question in prelims examination, that who determines this. Typically the crop season lasts 12 months for short duration crops and 18 months for long duration. So there is again a catch. There is a difference between short duration crop and long duration crop. So you have to keep this thing also in mind for the prelims examination. This can be twisted and asked. A KCC loan is classified as NPA if unpaid within 3 years of disbursal. So here 3 years is given also. Let us try to understand something about KCC itself, what Kisan credit card is. KCC basically known as Kisan credit scheme. So this was launched by government in 1997 to 1998 to provide farmers with adequate and timely credit. So farm sector mostly suffer from one of the very important problem, that is credit dispersal. So availability of credit mostly in earlier time what was happening, it was through informal mechanism, and those money lenders charges a very high amount of interest on those money which they lend. So to reduce that and to create a formal mechanism for farmers, government come up with the initiative KCC. So through it timely credit dispersal happens. What does the scheme offers? First, cultivation and post harvest activities. This itself can be asked in the prelims examination, that which type of activities is covered under KCC scheme. Second, marketing loans is also being provided. Third, household consumption needs is also being taken care through this. Working capital on farm assets like farm machinery, that can also be purchased through it. Investment credit for allied activities. For allied activities also this money can be used for investment. Let us understand about the eligibility criteria for this KCC. So first is farmer, individual or joint borrowers, both can be there. Second is tenant farmers, can also be there. Oral lessees and sharecroppers. In case of tenant, there is also a provision that up to rupees 2 lakh there is no requirement of collateral. So that's why even tenant farmers can take. Then there is self-help groups or joint lending groups can also take money from the KCC scheme itself. After that, let us understand about the working mechanism of this scheme. So first, loan amount, maximum loan of rupees 3 lakh at 7%, but this has further increased to rupees 5 lakh. Government has increased from the limit from 3 to 5 lakh. There is interest rate of 7%, but there is 3% interest subvention is also there when if it is timely repaid. For example, if someone is repaying timely, so government, in order to encourage a good practice of timely repayment, provide 3%. So actual will be only 4%. 7% minus 3%, it is 4% interest you are only paying on KCC. Then there is some other facilities, like it also comes under KCC, comes under priority sector lending. So for overall there is 40% provision for banks under priority sector lending, they have to provide loans, out of which 18% comes under agriculture. So we have to understand that, and this KCC help government to achieve this target, to banks to achieve this target in a significant manner. Then there are various delivery channels how they can access via ATM or debit card. So the very easy thing with KCC is you have a KCC card and you can use it like a debit card. Whenever you want to extract money, you can easily extract. Then there is also the credit facility is mostly revolving cash credit. So what is revolving cash credit? Means there is no limit on the number of times you are going to take loan from in the KCC card itself and repay it. In a year you can take any number of time the loan. So that help, and to especially to farmers in rural areas where there is a lot of issue regarding credit availability, and it particularly reduces dependency on informal sector. There are some data and statistics also on this KCC, like under Union Budget 2025 to 26, loan limit has been increased from 3 lakh to 5 lakh under modified interest subvention scheme. So under this, government provide 3% of extra incentive, that if you repay loan on timely, 3% subvention will be provided on interest. So that's why it become 4% effectively, and earlier it was 3 lakh, now it is 5 lakh. In last 10 years, 1.44 lakh crore of interest subsidy has been released on KCC loans. So again, this is a very important fact. On our screen we can see this graph is also there. In 2014 to 15, only 6,000 crore was dispersed. Now through institutional through KCC it has reached to 14,000 crore. So it is more than 2 times, it is almost 2.5 times in only 10 years. Also institutional credit flow, that is through formal channels, in 2014 to 15 it was 8.5 lakh crore, now it is 25.48 lakh crore. So there is formalization of credit dispersal happening in especially agricultural and rural economy. That is very good thing for farmers also, because they get cheaper loans, and also there is less pressure from money lenders. There are some challenges in recovery also regarding this KCC, like inability of farmers to repay loans due to weather related damages. So if there is weather related damage happen, and if there is no already insurance taken, like through Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, so what will happen? Farmer will not be able to repay the loan. There is lack of awareness among farmers itself. Many do not know about this provision, so they think a lot of government rules regulations are there, who is going to do. There is also delay in payment due to, for example, if there is some personal family problem is there, so that also create problem. The loan recovery mechanism is also not that good in this case, because mostly what happens, farmers is treated as a vote bank from politicians, so they try not to make them averse regarding voting. For example, if the recovery is too much prompt, so what will happen, farmers will get stress due to that, and also it may trigger problems like farmer suicide. There is also issue of loan amounts are smaller, so that's why it is become difficult also to recover. If the loan amount is bigger, so it is easier always. There is also expectation of farm loan waiver from time to time, and that create a bad habit among any person who takes loan. So because they anticipate after some time government may provide the loan. After this, let us understand through a practice question which type of question can be asked on this topic. So the question is, under the Kisan Credit Scheme, short-term credit support is given to farmers for which of the following purposes? So first is working capital for maintenance of farm assets, purchase of combine harvester, tractors and mini trucks, consumption requirement of farm household, post-harvest expenses, construction of family house and setting up of village cold storage facility. This is a PYQ already asked by UPSC in our prelims examination. This is our humble request. Kindly mark your answer in our comment section. Your peers will review. There has been another article come into the newspaper regarding India-Canada relation. The headline of the article is, Carney to be next Canadian PM says will retain tariffs till US show respect. So this is important from the perspective of India-Canada relation. It can be asked in means examination itself. We have covered this article in a very detailed manner on our 8 Jan 2025 episode of Daily News Analysis. You can watch the episode and understand the topic clearly with background itself. Now our second article is regarding tools and humans. So this article has come into the backdrop of a recent study published shows that our ancient ancestors were using bone tools at least 1.5 million years ago, roughly a million year earlier that was previously thought. So the timeline has gone backward. So in this context, this article has come into the Indian Express newspaper. The headline of article is, when our ancestors started using tools, the theories and the evidences. What is the relevance of this article? This can be asked in the section of ancient history in our prelims examination. Earlier in UPSC already there was a question regarding Denisovians. So that also come into the context of this type of article from the newspaper itself. Let us try to understand what the news is. So the article has been published in journal Nature. It is a very important journal that reported our ancient ancestors were using bone tools at least 1.5 million was already it was thought that it is being used by humans, but the timeline was not clear. Earliest known stone tools date to 3.3 million years ago, which is based on surviving prehistoric tools. The earlier finding was based on this. Our ancestors were using wooden tools just as long, but they have not survived with the earliest evidence to only 7 lakh years ago. So that was the earlier timeline. Now let us also try to understand about some human made tools. Earlier it was held that tool technology was uniquely only to human trait, that human were only making these tools. Human means Homo sapiens, always remember. In modern context, human means Homo sapiens. There are others also humans which we consider like Neanderthals were there. So in anthropological studies those things are there, but we will not go into that much complexity. In 1964, British Kenyan paleoanthropologist Louis Leakey and his colleagues named the species Homo habilis, or the handy able man, and they believe that these were the people who started using tool. But Charles Darwin has written in his book The Descent of Man that chimpanzee in a state of nature cracks a native fruit somewhat like a walnut with a stone. It means it is not uniquely related to humans, that is Homo sapiens, but also chimpanzees are doing this. Various other studies has been done, like primatologist Jane Goodall found that chimps were adept at using objects in nature as tools and even occasionally modified these in order to serve a specific purpose. So the theory which was earlier established that humans are only those who are using tools has been challenged over the period of time. This article says about this. Then various studies has been done over evolution of tool use, like prevailing anthropocentric views were there. Jane Goodall's discovery of chimpanzee tool use, then Lucy's discovery and early skepticism happened. What happened in 1974? Donald Johnson has discovered Lucy, that 3.2 million year old ancestor was using stone tools, and that again put 1.5 million years back the timeline. Similarly, Mary Marx's breakthrough has happened in 1983 by studying hand bones of the Lucy, and through it the Mary Marx suggested that through the grip of the tool Lucy was able to manipulate handstone. So it again given a different view that not only humans but others were also using tools. There is also archaeological evidence which has come into 2010 and 2015, like a fossil bones in Ethiopia, and similarly discovery of 3.3 million year old stones in Kenya. These further suggested that it was not humans which were using. So in conclusion, the article says that human exceptionalism is not being accepted by everyone. The works of Goodall and Masjic debunked the long held notion that the tool used defined human uniqueness. Beside it, the article also says that analysis of living primates suggests that last common ancestor of all great apes some 13 million ago had precision, dexterity and used tools. So these things prove, and the articles conclude that humans is not only the species which were using tools in the form of stones or something else. So which type of question can be asked? Earlier we have said that Denisovans was a term which was in news. It has already been asked by the UPSC in PY in the prelims examination. Similarly, there is a practice question like which one of the following makes a tool with a stick to scrape insects from a hole in a tree or a log of wood. So this is also a PYQ. Kindly mark your answer in our comment section and your peers will review. There has been another article into the newspaper regarding delimitation, and this article says that this has come into Indian Express newspaper. The headline of the article is the dangers of delimitation. This article mostly talk about the challenges regarding delimitation. This article we have already covered on 27 Feb 2025. Please watch the video and understand the nuances. Our next article is regarding Chandrayaan 3. So the backdrop of this article is a new analysis of data from one of the instruments aboard Chandrayaan 3 suggests that there was a good probability that water ice was present in location outside the polar regions of the moon. The relevance of this article is in science and technology section. The PYQs shows that on Chandrayaan 3 or Chandrayaan 2 or Chandrayaan 1, if there is some finding that can be asked itself in the prelims examination. So let us understand what the news is about. So the news says CHEST, that is Chandra's Surface Thermophysical Experiment. This equipment was sent by Indian scientists from ISRO on moon through Chandrayaan 3 mission, and this shows that surface and subsurface temperatures in the higher latitudes, you have to be careful here, surface and subsurface temperature in the higher latitudes of the moon's surface varied greatly. These are the terms where UPSC can twist and ask the question, with every very small changes in altitude over a short distance. Beside it, the article says that inclined areas in these latitudes that were not directly facing the sun could have environments very similar to the polar regions and could host water ice below. So those areas which are not facing sun directly, there is a chance that water ice can be found. This finding has been published in the Communication, Earth and Environment journal, which is related to nature. Nature is a very important and very prestigious journal. Beside it, various other findings. CHEST, which is a sort of thermometer, first instrument to carry out on-site temperature measurement of the moon's surface and subsurface near the polar region. What are the findings? Previously, temperature estimate came from satellite measurement. Now, due to CHEST, it is directly being done. After that, data recorded by CHEST infers the possibility of water ice locations similar to Shiv Shakti point. Then the article further says that 60 degrees Celsius difference. So there is a 60 degrees Celsius difference only between the layer just 10 centimeter beneath the ground layer. So this is ground layer 10 centimeter below, 60 degrees Celsius. That is a very huge significant difference. Water ice on the moon is believed exists mainly in the polar craters where sunlight never reaches. So that's the observation and findings from our CHEST 3 experiment, which was on Chandrayaan 3 on board. Other findings like Chandrayaan 3 Vikram lander has landed on a slightly inclined ocean. All of we have visualized this. After this, there is slope facing the sun. The areas where there is slope facing the sun, about 82 degrees Celsius difference is there, and flatter surface just 1 meter away from it, from the inclined surface, flatter surface, there is 59 degrees Celsius temperature difference. So there is a huge variation in temperature if there is change in slope. This is the finding of this study. The study found a small inclination in high latitude areas. So if the high latitude area regions is there, there is small inclination. There are some other findings like low surface temperature are not evidence of the presence of water ice. So if there is only low temperature, it does not give COT. Besides it, there is also some findings like fine scale spatial variability in regolith. What is regolith? Upper layer surface is known as regolith. This term can be asked itself. High latitude regions are potential sites for scouting water ice, resource prospecting and habitation. Now let us try to recall something regarding Chandrayaan 1 and Chandrayaan 2, which can itself be asked in the prelims examination by relating to Chandrayaan 3 findings. So Chandrayaan 1 mission was launched in October 2008 and it discovered, what were the discoveries? Right now we are discussing about the discoveries of Chandrayaan 3. Chandrayaan 1 discovered water on the moon, find strong signals of water in polar regions, including thick deposit of water ice. Right now we are already discussing about the presence of polar water ice in the polar region or high latitude areas. Similarly, Chandrayaan 2 was launched in July 2019 and it aimed for soft landing near the moon's south pole, but the mission failed, and there are a lot of other studies related to Chandrayaan 2 also which provided various other insights, so that is also very important. Now through a practice question, let us try to understand which type of question can be asked on this topic. So consider the following statement regarding the findings of Chandrayaan 3. CHEST is the first instrument to conduct on-site temperature measurements of the moon's surface and subsurface near the polar regions. Chandrayaan 3 findings suggest the possibility of water ice presence only in the polar craters of the moon. The study found that small inclines in high latitude regions when not facing the sun could have environments similar to the polar regions. Fourth statement, Chandrayaan 3 was the first mission to detect water ice on the moon. So this is our humble request, kindly mark your answer and put your comment in our comment section. There is another article regarding India-Mauritius relation, and this article again has come into our Indian Express newspaper. PM heads to Mauritius, pacts on maritime security, tackling financial crimes on table. This article has been covered by us on 10th March 2025 episode of Daily News Analysis. You can tune to the episode and understand nuances. Now let us discuss our next article, which is regarding agricultural production estimate. So this article has come into the backdrop in Indian Express newspaper. The Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare has released second advance estimate for production of major agricultural crops Kharif and Rabi for the year 2024 to 25. This article has also come into yesterday's PIB section. What is the relevance of this article? It can be asked in Indian economy section in the form of trend. So that can come into our prelims examination. The article has given some data, some trend. Let us try to understand those trends. The country's wheat production. So it is particularly regarding our one of the agricultural commodity, that is wheat. Wheat production in 2024 to 25 is estimated 2% higher than 23 to 24, and it is a record production 1.15 million metric tons. So what happens, from time to time Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare releases these estimates. So this is second estimate, first was already there. There will be some modification as per the data they get, and they modify and release the estimates. So this is second advance estimate. The estimate of record wheat are significant as the government has set a target of procurement of 31 million tons of wheat. So this year government has targeted 31 million tons of wheat procurement. Also Kharif production estimates, how, on which criteria they are based? Crop cutting experiments based yield. So how they in advance try to estimate? Through this crop cutting experiment they do, and through it they try to estimate the yield. The Rabi crop production is based on the average yield, whereas the crop cutting experiment is based on Kharif, and Rabi based on the average yield and subject to change in the successive estimate. Already we were saying that these are just estimates, this can change, but you need to from time to time always cover this thing in newspaper. That will help you to retain the context of the news in long term and also the trend. Estimates only Kharif and Rabi for the year 2024 to 25 so that the production of rapeseed and mustard is estimated to be 12.9 million. This is regarding rapeseed and mustard. So the estimate is not only talking about wheat but about other crops also like rapeseed and mustard. Similarly, cash crop production, which are cash crop, cotton and sugar, have maintained a strong output. Besides it, total food grain production was 330 million metric ton. So it is 330 million metric ton, which is 3,309 lakh metric ton. There is a table also. So, the table shows that total production of food grains, out of which Kharif was 166.3 million metric ton, whereas in Rabi 164.5 million metric ton. So, this can itself be asked in Rabi or in Kharif the production of food grains is higher. That is very slight difference, but that can also be asked. Beside it, it also showing about rice, that rice was 120 million metric ton, whereas it is saying that the wheat is 115 lakh million metric ton. Similarly, about maize, about groundnut, oilseed it is only saying that 27 lakh million metric ton, 27 million metric ton in Kharif and 14 million metric ton in Rabi season. Beside it, it is also giving data about cotton, jute, sugarcane. So, this helps us to create a trend and understand if there is a question on trend analysis of this. We have already in one of our daily news analysis section, we have covered about the agriculture export production. You can watch that video also. So, that trend itself can also be asked. There is a practice question on this through which you can further understand which type of question can be asked on this topic. As per the second advanced estimates of agricultural crop production for 2024 to 25, which of the following statement is or are correct? So, wheat production is estimated to be highest ever. Kharif production has decreased compared to the previous year. Soybean and groundnut have both witnessed an increase compared to 2023 to 24. Summer crop production estimates will be included in third advanced estimate. So, this is our humble request. Kindly mark your answer in our comment section. Your peers will review. There is another article regarding short selling. This article has come into the Hindu newspaper in the backdrop that SEBI, that is Securities and Exchange Board of India, is considering a major revamp of short selling regulation. What is the relevance of this article? It can be asked in the Indian economy section in the prelims examination itself. So, what the news is, let us understand. SEBI is considering a major revamp, potentially allowing it for all stocks excluding those in the trade to trade segment. So, SEBI is thinking that they will allow in all stocks, only trade to trade will be excluded. The proposal may also scrap short sell disclosure and penalties currently imposed by stock exchanges. So, this is a thought process in which context this article has come. Now, the main important thing is, let us understand what is short selling, what is negative short selling, and what are current regulations regarding these things. This can be asked in prelims examination in the form of some statements itself. So, short selling, first let us try to understand short selling in a very easy manner. For example, this is a pen and the cost of this pen is 10,000 rupees. Now, I am expecting that after 10 days, the price of this pen will decrease to 6,000. So, what will I do? I will borrow this pen from one friend. Borrow is very important term. I will borrow this pen from one friend. Please give me this pen. I will return you after 10 days. So, what will happen? I will borrow and sell this pen without the permission of my friend. Okay. So, I have sell this in 10,000 rupees. After 10 days, when price will reduce to 6,000, I will repurchase this pen and I have profit of 4,000. After repurchase, I will again return to the one of my friend from whom I have taken this pen. I have borrowed this pen. So, the 4,000 rupees is my profit, and this complete process is known as short selling. So, this is short selling. Now, there is another term, naked short selling. So, in naked short selling, what happens? Only one thing, which is illegal. One thing happens, I have not borrowed anything. This pen does not exist, and still I have told the person whom I am selling that I have the pen, I am selling you. So, there is no pen, but still I am selling. Similarly, there is no stock, there is no securities, and still you are selling. So, replace the pen with stock and you will be able to understand short selling. So, now let us through some standard definition understand this concept. So, short selling shall be defined as a selling a stock which the seller does not own at the time of trade. This strategy used to bet on the fall in stock prices, that the prices will fall in future. The current regulation says that by SEBI has come up in 2024 regulation regarding short selling. So, it says that all classes of investors, retail and institutional investors shall be permitted to short sell. Only stocks qualifying for future and options trading are allowed for short selling, but those type of stocks will be traded through short selling which are regarding futures and options. Institutional investor must disclose upfront if a transaction is short sell. Why they are doing particularly to institutional investor? Because institutional investor purchase and sell in bulk. So if there is some misappropriation and it is not disclosed, what will happen? It can create havoc in our complete financial market. Even the economy can be jeopardized. While retail investors must report it by the end of the trading day, brokers and exchanges to brokers and exchanges. There are some other regulations like must publish weekly script by short sell. Here again we are talking about naked short selling shall not be permitted in the Indian securities market, and accordingly all investors would be required to mandatorily honor their obligation of delivering the securities at the time of settlement. So because in naked short selling what happens, there is no stock and you have said to someone that I am selling you, but at the end of the day you have to give the security which you have sold. That's why there should be complete delivery of that security, otherwise it is naked short selling and which is illegal. Naked short selling occurs when someone sells shares without owning or borrowing them. They are even not owning or not borrowing, unlike traditional short selling where shares have to be borrowed first. Now through a practice question, let us try to understand which type of question can be asked on this topic. So short selling recently in news is related to which of the following? Selling stocks or assets without owning them, aiming to repurchase at a lower price, selling goods at a price lower than the cost of production, technique used by central banks to control inflation, a method of reducing fiscal deficit by cutting government spending. So this is our humble request to all of you. Please kindly mark your answer in our comment section. Your PS will review. Now let us discuss about our editorial analysis, which is regarding our current affairs section. So the article is regarding women digital tech farm work. This has come into the backdrop of digital technologies are enabling women to break traditional barriers in farm work. This article has come into our Indian Express newspaper in editorial section. The headline of the article is a field of her own. So the relevance of this article in our mains examination in GS1 paper and GS3 paper. In GS1 paper it is regarding Indian society, and in GS3 paper it is in Indian economy section in form of feminization of agriculture is happening, and in that context this article is very important. Through some PYQs, let us try to understand which form of question can be asked on this topic itself. Examine the role of gig economy in the process of empowerment of women in India. This has already been asked in mains examination of 2021. Similarly, there is another question: what are the continued challenges for women in India against time and space? This again has come into mains examination of 2019. Then there is question on how does e-technology help farmers in production and marketing of agricultural produce? Explain it. So here the question was only about general asking about technology. Now the article is particularly talking about how technology can help women to increase their productivity and enable them to earn more. So let us try to understand what the article says about current status of feminization of agriculture is happening, but how machines can help them and what is the current status. So first thing the article says is India's agri-food system comprising agriculture, livestock rearing, agroforestry and fisheries depend heavily on women's paid and unpaid labor. So these are the prominent areas in farming, in agriculture sector, where women's role is very important and they play both paid and unpaid labor. Second observation of the article regarding current status is women's productivity is affected by institutions that place constraints on their time, impose controls about productive resources, restrict access to input and scientific knowledge, and undermine their decision making capacities. And all these things can be altered with the help of technology, especially digital technology or even other form of technologies. Then the article says third thing about current status is that gender intersects with other structure of power like caste and class to shape ways in which labor and power are divided between men and women. So there is always a difference between application of technology when this comes to male or female. So there is also a discrimination in that aspect this article talks about. Further, the article says that women are typically assigned tasks that are labor intensive, low paying and invisible in agriculture sector. So these are the prominent observation of the article. Then evidence shows that most technological intervention in the sector have focused only on increasing men's work efficiency and productivity. For example, take the case of tractor. So tractor are basically designed in such a manner that are mostly easy to operated by male than female, and that's why if we go to the any rural area, we will find mostly male will be operating tractor rather female. Similarly, the other observation regarding this current status is mechanization has led women losing their paid work in these sectors. So what happens if mechanization happens? For example, mostly dusting or segregating straw from the food grains, these happen post harvest. These are being done by women. Even in the agricultural field, when the crop get ready for harvesting earlier was mostly done by woman labor, which is being replaced by main led or main mechanized harvesters. So these things are being observed in this article again. Then when technologies are designed to reduce women's workload, it leads to an increase in their productivity. So the article says if there is any particular technology is there which is being used for women or designed for human, it increases productivity of women in the agriculture field and agriculture sector. The article further mentions about some challenges and initiatives, some challenges regarding mechanization of farm equipments, especially for women, and what initiatives has been taken. The article is mentioning about MS Swaminathan Research Foundation's effort. So this particular organization is helping for those technology or adoption of those technology, especially by women, and increase their productivity in the farm sector. It enables women farmers and fish workers access technology that not only close the gender divide but have significant impact on women's productivity, decision making and control over the time. So let us understand which type of challenges it is talking. Physical tasks of low value which require manual labor are assigned to women while men take up mechanized work. So this is one of the significant challenge in agriculture sector. So what has happened? Some initiative have been taken to enable women's access to information technology training in machinery. For example, MS Swaminathan Foundation has in Koraput district of Odisha has in millet sector supported women to access technology in form of providing training, providing information, and that has increased productivity. Similarly, there is challenge regarding mechanization in fishery sector. The article says that mechanization in fishing sector with large vessels and trawlers and creation of new centralized harbors and landing centers are there. There is a problem regarding these things in mechanization. Women were left in strenuous activities, processing, drying and vending. So when mechanization happens, it is mostly taken by male rather female, and only some menial jobs are left in that sector for women. Small scale women vendors have been marginalized as auctioneers and fish vendor. So if the agriculture is mechanized, what happens? There has been large scale vending is happening, auction is happening, whereas women become small scale vendors, and that also again discriminate them to sell their goods and also bargain with the produce they produce, like in fishing sector or in farming sector. So there is again some initiatives taken. In this article, it is referring about MS Swaminathan Research Foundation, which has played some role in Tamil Nadu coastal areas. So that enable women fish workers in coastal areas with digital technology, and these technologies has brought impressive changes in women's work. Beside it, how it is helping? Access to mobile phones, tablets, helplines, audio advisories, training internet usage, digital payments, inventory management and online business. All these things helps drastically to increase productivity. It helps to optimally use input. It also helps to optimally harvest your produce. In this case, fishing. Beside it, help in marketing, branding, packaging of your good in a much better way. Also, it helps to reduce cost of your production. All these things help to increase profit and also scale up your business, and this is helping particularly women entrepreneurs in that coastal region of Nagapattinam, Ramnathpuram in Tamil Nadu. So overall, the article says that gender responsive technology can strengthen women's ability to break down entrenched barriers and give them the freedom to make choice. In GS1 section, this itself can be asked regarding gender division of labor, that is how gender division of labor is changing. So digital technologies are playing role in farming sector. You can mention about this dimension itself. Investment in designing gender responsive technology and enabling ecosystem that holds state, family, society accountable. So this adoption of digital technology not only helping to earn money but also impacting all other social institutions like family, society, education, economy. All social institutions are being impacted due to this adoption, and that's why this is very crucial and important for bringing gender empowerment or social change. Beside it, making agriculture and rural areas more remunerative. So this article talks about these things. Now let us, through a practice question, try to understand which type of question can be asked on this topic. How is technology enabling women to be a part of the economy, and discuss the challenges being faced by women with respect to the present state of technology and its access. So this is a 250 words, 15 marker question. In introduction, you can mention about some of the initiatives which has been taken by MS Swaminathan Research Foundation, and that will make a very interesting and current oriented introduction. In body, we have to first talk about challenges regarding adoption, and then after challenges we can mention about some of the initiatives. At last we have to write in a way forward or conclusion. In way forward we can mention about Ashok Dalwai committee itself, which has recommended that India specific technologies should be designed and produced, not heavy tractors which are particularly designed for the and suitable for the already developed countries which have big patches of land. So through this you can write the question. This is our humble request. Kindly write this answer and post in our comment section. Your PS will review. If you like our video, please like it, comment on it, subscribe it, share it. Thank you.